What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the OOG Podcast. This is episode 2. I'm your boy, Tolga the Turkman 360.
And I'm the other guy, James, otherwise known as Hutch.
So, in today's episode, I wanted to bring up something that I can't stop thinking about, man. It's just been on my mind for a few weeks, and I think I've let it digest enough to the point where it's okay for me to talk about. And that is the DC EU's ending and the beginning of the DCU. I just it's so hard for me to think like that this really happened, because you look at something like Marvel and they've been going since 2008, no stops, right?
It's a long ass time.
A long ass time.
One could say they've been going since like 2000 with the Spider-Man movies, but that's Sony. That's different.
But they even brought him back, right? They brought Toby back.
They did.
They brought Toby,
They did bring him back.
and that was a great movie. But
Fantastic.
we look at something like how the DCEU happened. We got the Man of Steel, and that came out with 2013.
Yep.
And the DCEU finally concluded with the Flash, which just came out a month ago. A lot of people didn't really see the Flash.
I didn't see the Flash.
Exactly, and it's one of the biggest flops of the year, if not the biggest flop of the year. Which is,
I think we all know why.
yeah, I mean, I think there's a few reasons why.
Ezra Miller is a psychopath, but that's neither here nor there.
Right. So everything that happened with Ezra Miller and Warner Bros. Is one thing that should be addressed. And then just the movie in general. I mean, I had the pleasure of seeing an early screening, and there were moments, and I'll be honest with you, I saw it after I saw Across the Spider Verse. Okay, so personally, like I believe Across the Spider Verse was phenomenal.
It set the bar too high, is what you're trying to say.
Exactly, right? So, there were these reviews, and I remember Tom Cruise was in the mix of like, The Flash is the greatest superhero movie of all time kind of thing. And I just kept thinking like, dang, like if they're getting all these people to say this, like maybe it really is that good, you know?
Yeah. I wasn't buying it. I don't know. The trailer looked pretty good. Like it had its moments. Like I was kind of excited, but then as soon as it came out, the opening reviews were not the best.
And that's exactly what happened, right? So I go to see The Flash and I'm like, I don't understand what those reviews were talking about. Like the ones that were hyping it up. It was really an interesting thing where they didn't correlate at all. I mean, I like I said, like I saw that movie and I genuinely thought I was watching like a PlayStation 2 game.
You hate to see that.
Right. And no disrespect to that or anything. Like maybe if they had more time it would have been better, but this
Oh
predates.
no, because didn't they announce this movie in like 2017? I think they had all the time in the world.
Crazy thing too is, right, what actually, the Flash announcement of the movie, and this like statistic is going to be a little crazy. The Flash announcement of the movie was before the TV show came out.
What?
Look,
When like 2010?
early, like I think, yeah, like 11, 12, 13 era, right?
So there's been like 10 seasons of the Flash TV show since they announced the movie. That's insane. I'm not gonna lie to you. That's ridiculous. I ain't watched that shit either. I'm not gonna lie to you.
So the show was pretty good. I mean, the first few seasons are pretty good, but like every show,
I,
it kind of falls, right?
I watched the first 2 seasons.
Yeah. Um, but it's crazy to think like, the show ended and the movie still wasn't out.
That's kind of what makes DC a kind of a laughing stock, honestly. Their shit is just all over the place. I know that the MCU is kind of in that right now with all these TV shows and movies that are coming out with no real like structure, but DCU is just in shambles. I don't even know what the hell they're trying to accomplish right now. I'm not. I can't see the future at all. I know that they're restarting, but still, I don't know how this is gonna turn out.
No, I mean, I kind of agree with you, sadly. I think, like, with and it's difficult to kinda say something like this, but in all honesty, I think it was best when it was in the hands of Zack Snyder. And that's not to say, like, there weren't problems or anything like that, but realistically speaking, like, Man of Steel was a good movie. It wasn't bad, right? I think people were like, "Oh, we just got The Dark Knight Rises, now we're gonna get the greatest Superman here or Superman movie of all time," right? Like, no.
Right, it was all right.
Right, it was good.
Yeah,
It wasn't top.
I give it a 7.8.
S
Fight me in the comments. I don't care.
So, I mean, look, I'm okay with that kind of rating, genuinely. I think that Man of Steel was good. I think Henry Cavill did a good job as Superman. Definitely
Oh
looked
yeah,
the part for sure.
he was a great Superman.
And so, we get that, and then we're fanboying a bit to say, "Oh, we're getting Batman and Superman in the same movie." Like, holy shit, this is happening, right?
Yeah, the fans kind of overhyped it. I feel.
Definitely. I think there was like a bit of a high expectation,
Oh
again.
yeah, especially I saw there's a clip at like Comic Con that or CDC Comic Con that year. The guy who plays the general in Man of Steel, what's his name? Black guy, I can't remember his name. His name is like Harry Lennox, something like that.
Mhm.
But he said the famous Batman line from when it's in the comic or the animated movie.
You're talking about The Dark Knight Returns.
The Dark Knight Returns when Batman beat Superman at the end, and he said that cold ass line.
Yeah, it's like, "In
That
all my youth."
I I watch that scene like once a week just for that quote
Right.
because it is so. That's like, man, it's like, what is it? It's like, in all your years to come, in your most private moments, I'm the only man who beat you, or something like that. Like
Yeah.
that's tough. So when he said that, everybody about to be the greatest shit ever, and then all we got was Martha. Why did you say that? Like, what are you? What? What is? So he's got
And
this. Her
so,
mom. His mom is the same name as yours. Who the fuck cares? I don't know.
I think,
It was just a letdown.
you kind of get that issue a bit, um, with movies that pin, like, the 2 heroes against each other. Is a lot of the audience isn't more so like who's gonna win nowadays. The audience is, okay, so what's the thing that makes them stop fighting each other? Um, so in it, right, in Batman v Superman, it's kind of the infamous their moms have the same name. Um, Captain America Civil War, I mean, it
Zemo.
was Zemo, but they still
But
fought.
they still fought each other. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was just kind of more so Captain America being like, okay,
A
I'm
bitch.
not
My
gonna
bad.
fight.
My bad.
Whoa. Whoa, wait up. Hold on. Anyway. I mean, so yeah,
You can fight me about it.
so and then in like Godzilla versus Kong, it was Mecha Godzilla.
Mega
There's always a
Godzilla.
common enemy that separates the heroes from fighting each other.
That's
So,
true.
you kind of get the same thing in Batman v Superman, but the issue is okay, so how do we do that? And I personally don't know why it was decided to do, their moms
Doomsday.
having the same name,
Oh yeah,
but,
that was so stupid.
it happened. Yeah, it happened. The Doomsday fight, I think, is a little slept on. It's early, right? We already got Doomsday, right? But, like, that was pretty badass.
It was.
I'm just saying.
It was pretty cool.
Um,
I, I just wish they hadn't have shown him in the trailer. I think that was the only problem because it was like, oh, okay, now we're
right.
not. Now we're expecting it. Now I'm not caring as much because if he would have just popped out of nowhere and like after they got done fighting, and all of a sudden he just just hit Superman with a random ass haymaker. That shit would have been crazy.
Exactly. Um, and I'm in agreement. I'm in agreement with you because if they hadn't shown Doomsday, I think I would have gone in that theater and I would have been like, "Oh my gosh, what? Like Doomsday? He's the actual common enemy?" Or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Um, I know they tried to do it with Lex a little bit, but like Lex is always gonna be Lex. And you could tell like this Batman didn't care. He was like, "I'm focused on beating Superman."
Oh yeah. Whooped
So
his ass.
whooped him. I don't care what anybody says. Batman won that fight.
He won that shit.
And so I think we got a good Batman. I think we got a really good Bruce Wayne and a really good Batman.
He was smooth as hell, boy. He
Smooth
was
and
he was on Wonder Woman's. Ooh, she was speaking that game, boy.
and we got Wonder Woman. It's interesting because we call it Batman v
We
Superman and
did get
everything
one.
like that. It was called
She
though
was also
Batman v
what?
Superman: Dawn of Justice.
It was. It sure was. You always forget that.
Yeah, right. Like there was more to the movie in a sense. Um, Personally, I think that if you watch that movie, you have to watch the 3-hour director's cut. It has a
It's always the director cut.
I know. But there are details in there that that clear up the storyline. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that always comes to my mind at least is like the fact that like people are always like, why didn't Superman see the bomb in the courthouse? Like how come no one, saw that
That was the whole
coming?
point.
And that was the point because in the director's cut, they do like an investigation and you find out like, oh, the wheelchair was made out of lead. Superman can't see
Uh,
through.
that's fair. Oh shit! I
Yeah,
didn't even see. My whole thing was that he didn't see it because he was ashamed that he did that to that guy.
right.
Like put him in a wheelchair. That's why he couldn't look at him. That's. I feel like they're both equally as good.
Right. And so I feel like no matter which way you kind of go, like it fits that criteria of what you're looking for in the
Mm-hmm.
story. But there's definitely like a bit of a, oh, how come he didn't? Well, because he couldn't. You know what I mean? Like it
Yep.
was just
Oh
right
yeah.
there that he just actually couldn't. Um it's kind of interesting too because we got like cameos of all the Justice League members in that movie.
Yeah, from the videos.
Yeah. Yeah.
We weren't expecting that.
No, that was a
We
surprise
weren't
for sure.
expecting-
Um Yeah. Yeah. That's I didn't even think about that one, but there was no after credit scene. Those weren't, like, big yet for DC, if I'm not mistaken.
Have they done after credit scenes?
No, I don't think so. I think the first one was,
Wait a minute, didn't Batman vs Superman did no they did.
I think the first one was Suicide Squad, which came out later that year. They came out the same
Which
year.
was also not that good.
Yeah, that's interesting to think about too, that they both came out that same year. Wow, like, a few months apart.
Yeah, wasn't that the after credit scene was Joker being alive still?
No, that was,
Or was that a deleted scene?
that might be a deleted scene. Um, but it was, Ben Affleck's Batman meeting up with Amanda Waller to get information on the members of the Justice League, right?
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
Um, that's pretty interesting. Wow, I forgot about that actually. But
It's
yeah,
just it's so forgettable.
it kind of is. I know that there's supposed to be a director's cut of that that's like really good too, but I don't know that we'll be able to see that one. Um, but yeah, you kind of go. We got Wonder Woman. That was actually pretty good, but it was more of a
Oh yeah.
standalone movie, right? There wasn't some kind of like big, like, oh snap, like we're bringing in blah blah blah. Um,
The first one.
and then after Wonder Woman, I think was
So Wonder Woman came out 2017.
Justice
Was
League
that after? Was that? It was. Yeah. It was Justice League.
after Wonder Woman, right?
Was it after or before Justice League?
Wonder Woman was before Justice League, and then Yeah,
Was it?
yeah. No, it was, right?
Can't. I don't. I gotta look it up now.
I'm gonna say that it was. But for some reason, you're right, it kinda feels like it wasn't. So that's a bit interesting for sure. Um, that movie was pretty good. I actually really enjoyed Wonder Woman. Um, kind of going with the whole, like, back to World War One, Wonder Woman was alive, and Steve Trevor was really good, Chris Pine, that relationship was, like, pretty nice, right? Being able to, uh, just have that dynamic for sure was pretty good. So, I'm glad that we were able to see that for sure. So, yeah.
So Wonder
So you
Woman
were saying
came out before Justice League. Wonder Woman came out June 2nd, 2017, and Justice League came out, I think, November 17th of 2017. So yeah, Justice League came out after.
dang, I guess technically Justice League is like a Thanksgiving movie.
So
Um,
yeah, I just like
so
Thanksgiving movie.
essentially
But anyway, I got beef with the second Wonder Woman
why is that?
because the story was not good. The story just wasn't. It felt like a romance movie when it shouldn't have been,
Yeah,
and I don't understand why it was set in 1984. Why couldn't all that
yeah.
shit just be in the present time? Like, it
I
had
think
no reason to be in 19. I and then at the end, right, when he's what is she flying through the sky, or at least
yeah, yeah,
that's what I thought she was doing. It didn't look like she was flying. It looked like she was just gliding. I was
yeah.
just so confused.
That was the one where
God
she, like,
damn.
lassoed, like,
Like,
the
did they?
lightning, right?
Yeah, she lassoed the lightning. That looked cool in the trailer, but not cool at all.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
just, ooh, so disappointing.
so what I would say is that, like, there were also some continuity errors because if you look at, like, Justice League, um, Batman kind of, like, I guess he snaps at Wonder Woman in one scene is like, "Oh, kinda like how Steve Trevor died or whatever," and then they're, like, bringing him back for the next
Mm-hmm.
movie of Wonder Woman, and you find out, like, he died happily, you know what I mean? Like, it just didn't make sense. So, I think
Yeah, he
all in
didn't need
all,
to come
we
back.
got
It
good
was
movies
so
and everything.
forced. This, yeah, I, I feel like all the first movies for each of their heroes was pretty good. The Aquaman movie was pretty good too. Think I think Jason Momoa is a pretty good Aquaman. I don't know what they're gonna do for this next Aquaman. I hope they can deliver. I heard that
Yeah,
they were gonna make a trench movie. God, that sounds like a horrible idea,
it got canceled.
but you know, it got canceled.
Yeah, yeah,
Lord, that was such a horrible idea. I
yeah.
hope whoever had that idea got fired
Dang.
because they were in the trench for like 10 minutes, dog. Look, no offense to that guy, but that's not it.
I think it would
It's
have been
not
like
it
a
at all.
cool, horror movie, like an HBO horror movie.
I can get with that. I
Yeah,
can get with that. Yeah, it was scary. I guess
yeah,
I, you can make that scary. I feel like
yeah, yeah. I think that was, like, the scariest part of the movie, honestly. The only scary part of the
I need to.
movie.
You're right. The only scary part. I need
Yeah,
to watch. I need to rewatch that movie.
right. But yeah,
Man, you act like you watch these mugs every day of your life.
Shoot, there used to be a time where what I would do in my free time was watch, like, Marvel, DC, any type of superhero movie. I'd be like, "Oh, they just added Spider-Man back on Netflix? Pull it up." Like, just 'cause.
That's fair. I'm so sad they took. Did they take off Spider-Man off of
I
Netflix?
think they still got the Tobey Maguire ones on there, right?
If it is, I'm gonna have to go watch them.
But, you kind of, like, going back, right? So, we get all these movies, and we finally get the Snyder Cut during COVID era, and the Snyder Cut was really good. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah,
Like, I think it was
it was
just,
long as shit.
what, 4 hours, right?
4 hours is like 20 minutes. I
Yeah.
had to watch this shit in parts.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
watched like 2 hours, then I took like a 45-minute break
No,
and
definitely,
watched the rest of it.
definitely. That, like, first night it dropped, I was like, "Oh, I can do this, I can stay up, watch all 4 hours," and I watched an hour and was like, "Okay, no, I can't." So,
Man,
but the
Martial
Snyder Cut.
Manhunter in that movie was fun.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you can go.
No, all good, it was a fan service. We got everything that genuinely everything we wanted from the original Justice League movie, and we wanted more, and we didn't get it. So, they said that, "Hey, to tie it all up, we're gonna have The Flash kind of reset the continuity." We get movies like Shazam and Black Adam, and we're hyped with Black Adam. Why? Because we get Henry Cavill back.
Oh, don't even get me started about that shit, man. That I wanted him to beat his ass. I'm not gonna lie. When he pulled up at the end, he just bust through the wall or whatever. I was like, whoop his ass! Fuck this dude.
I
Fuck
was
Dwayne the Rock Johnson. Not really. But he kind of screwed over everybody a little bit. I don't know. Maybe not. But yeah, man, fuck Black Adam.
I think so. Personally, I wasn't a huge fan of the Black Adam movie. I think it was like just a good, entertaining movie. Nothing where like
I agree.
you would like critically acclaim or rate. Like just it wasn't anything on top of the other ones. Um, but I, I was over the top about Henry Cavill coming back as Superman. Like I genuinely went to go see that movie just so I could see that scene, and
This
I
he was cold
it
too.
was, and I definitely fanboyed over it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but then a month later, James Gunn takes over, and there are a lot of people who are like fire James Gunn and everything like that, and I'm against that. I think James Gunn can handle the DCU. I think if anybody's gonna do it, I think it is James Gunn. I mean, look what he did with he had. I'm gonna be a little might get some hate for this one, but I think he had the second best DCEU movie with the Suicide
Oh, the
Squad.
Suicide Squad.
Yeah,
That was a great
yeah,
movie.
I
That was a phenomenal movie.
agreed. Like I fully enjoyed that one.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
man. That ending, the end when what's Idris Elba's Bloodsport,
Bloodsport.
when he dropped down and and saw Peacemaker and they had that little standoff. He shot through the
It
bullet. I was
is.
like, oh, he hit him with his own shit. Smaller bullets. I was,
Mhm.
ooh, that's tough.
It was cold, man.
Ooh.
Like, oh, everything about that movie was just it was funny, gory, and like emotional.
Oh, hella gory. Oh my,
Yeah.
that first what, like 20 minutes when they was on the
Yeah,
beach?
yeah.
God
And it was
damn,
like
that was gory.
TDK, shout out Nathan Fillion.
Oh yeah,
With the arms and everything. Like it was just a good time, but it was also like actually good.
oh yeah. It was a fun time when they were when they killed all the good guys by accident.
Yeah, with having a competition, right? Like who's better kind of thing.
Thanks. I was like,
Um,
I was like, damn,
yeah.
them niggas is dead.
But that,
My
that
bad.
yeah, that movie was good, and so we got everything, and we're thinking, oh, maybe we are going in the right track, and then they say, oh, we got to end it. Um, so the Flash comes out.
All
I'm
the way back to the beginning.
for those who are watching this, and have seen the movie, definitely comment your opinion on it. But I think it needed to work. I don't know if I mean, you look back again, well, what did we say? This thing was gonna come out in or, like, was announced back in, like, 2013, 2012. You had
Yeah.
10 years to work on it, tons of directors, tons of writers coming in and out. There's just so much creative differences and everything like that, and ideas being tossed and turned and everything like that, and finally, you get one final product, and it just didn't deliver. So
Not at all.
I'm gonna get into a little bit of spoiler territory here, and I'd like to
Oh,
discuss.
you wanna get nuts?
Let's get nuts.
Let's get nuts.
I'd like to discuss I have it pulled up here actually on the side, of the possible endings that were filmed, and I'd like to say the ending that we did get, okay?
Okay, I'm with it. I'm with it.
So, to begin, I'm gonna go with the ending we did get, okay? Spoiler warning.
All right.
So Barry saves the multiverse. He comes back from his whole journey where Batman was Michael Keaton and Supergirl was there instead of Superman, right?
Fine
Um,
as hell.
right. And so that happens. That whole adventure occurs. He goes back and actually ends up like he's like my mom needs to die. Goes back to his present timeline where he calls up Bruce Wayne and is like, "Hey, I did it. I saved the multiverse, and this is the product of what it is. I'm glad that you're back." Bruce Wayne's like, "Oh, I'm proud of you and everything." And the mystery is who is Bruce Wayne? Is it Ben Affleck? So he gets out of the car, goes over to say hi, and it's George Clooney.
Boom, let down.
And
My God.
and
Any of the Batman. And choose nipple Batman. Anyway, that's not the
and Barry's like
point.
Barry's like, "What?" And he just kind of goes with it, and then it ends. And, we get a an after credit scene of him running into Jason Momoa's Aquaman, and he's like, "Yeah, everybody's here seems to be kind of, like, different, but you're the same. Oh my gosh, you're still Jason Momoa." And that's obviously for the fact that, like, okay, they made Aquaman 2. They can't cancel the movie or replace the actor, so we need to make sure that Jason Momoa is still Aquaman. You
That's
know what I mean? It's a cop out. It's a cop out. That's what it was.
shit doesn't make sense.
So I'm gonna read here kind of the possible endings that we could have gotten. Okay,
All right.
so the original ending uh, for the Flash was Barry going back to the courthouse, which was still at the ending of the Flash. It's still at the Flash. Um, and he sees Supergirl and Michael Keaton's Batman at the courthouse. Okay, and it would have essentially reversed they died in the movie, spoilers. It would reverse their deaths, and we would have gotten a new timeline with that Supergirl and Michael Keaton's Batman.
Sounds
Simple.
pretty solid to me.
Right, simple, no problem, sure, good, okay?
Right.
The point of this was to also set up a lot of people forget, like, they canceled the Batgirl movie completely after
Mhm.
filming it, and
Which is ridiculous.
right, like, what? And so with Michael Keaton's Batman being in the original ending, the idea was, "Oh, hey, now we can do Batgirl, and we can also do" drumroll please, "Batman Beyond."
Which would have been amazing.
So,
Just like the show.
I know. The idea was that with the success of The Flash with Michael Keaton being Batman, they were going to set up a Batman Beyond movie with Michael Keaton in it.
Right.
But it didn't happen. Option number 2. Barry goes to the courthouse. No
Right.
problem. Same thing, right? No matter what we get,
Courthouse
Barry is at
every
the
time.
courthouse in all of these
So
options. If there's one thing that was consistent, it was the courthouse location.
the courthouse gonna be there, always gonna be there.
So the idea was, right, instead of Supergirl and Michael Keaton's Batman, Barry was going to show up at the courthouse and run into Henry Cavill's Superman and Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman. And it was going to be basically, hey, they're back and they're staying.
Woo! I'm with that one.
I know.
Oh, that would have been so good.
I know.
So much disappointment.
So it gets
it gets more disappointing. All right, man, hit me with it.
in this version, the option number 2, it was still going to have Supergirl and Michael Keaton's Batman show up as well.
Oh,
so everybody was going to be one big happy family.
Right.
With this ending, the idea was, oh man, I'm so sorry. Man of Steel 2, or like a Superman 2 movie.
Okay.
With Superman and Supergirl, both in the movie, going up against Brainiac.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, we could have got Brainiac.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. You know what?
I'm so sorry.
They need to put me in charge, bro. I'm telling you, bro.
We were still going to get Batman Beyond because Michael Keaton was Batman. We were going to get Batgirl. No problem.
No problems.
The third ending is what we got with George Clooney's Batman, right? Now, not a lot of people know this though, but there is a fourth option, okay? And it's a bit of a Hail Mary option here. We were going to get a version where it showed Henry Cavill as Superman, Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, and I'm so sorry, Ben Affleck's Batman. Okay? At the courthouse. You still have Supergirl in the mix. You still have all the other characters in the mix. They all come to the courthouse. What was going to be set up was Man of Steel 2 or Superman 2 with, Superman and Supergirl against Brainiac, right? That's still happening. Right. You're getting your own Wonder Woman movie, but what you're also getting in this, oh man, this one hurts a bit. It was going to be a Ben Affleck Batman versus Deathstroke setup.
That sounds so amazing. I see. They had all these fantastic options. All these options. Batman Beyond, Batman vs. Deathstroke, Man of Steel 2 with Brainiac. And they went with nipple Batman. Let me say it again. They went with nipple Batman.
Hey man, look, when I was a kid, the bat nipples were cool. He had a Batman credit card too.
Did he actually?
Yeah. I remember he like pulled it out in front of Poison Ivy and was like,
"Oh yeah,
my credit score is really good." Which is kind of like, dang, like why does I mean, it's not even why does Batman have a credit card? It's more so what credit card company did you go through? Like is that Discover?
Who made that?
Right. So, I mean, yeah, we got all these options and we got left with the bare minimum. Now, I personally don't think George Clooney's staying as Batman. I think they're resetting that as well. So
they have to. Why? I don't think anybody wants Ben Affleck wants George Clooney as Batman. I don't even think George Clooney wants George Clooney Batman, if you ask me.
So He kind of said that too. He was like, "Does anyone really want me to come back?" And
No,
I think he did it as a joke. Personally, I think he knows
let me
like,
see.
oh, like I was like his time as Batman was kind of like ended up being a joke, right? Like ended up being goofy. And
Yeah,
he was like, "Ah, you know what? I might as well come in just to say what's up and then dip out," right?
I get my bag and leave.
Right. Kind of caused that, "Oh, brother" moment in the theaters, and that's exactly what happened is I kid you not, the pretty much a good majority of the movie was silent. There were 2 moments that people were like, "Oh my gosh, like, what?" Or, you know, something like that. It was never like, "Yay!" It was always like, "Huh?" And it was, number
That's
1
not good.
right, number 1 being, like, George Clooney being Batman. There was a big,
Mhm.
"What?" But number 2 was, Nicolas Cage being Superman in another universe.
And it being a terrible CGI at that.
Yeah, so I don't know why they just kind of did, like, the rendered head
Like
models and
they
shape.
could have easily just got Nicolas Cage, put him in a suit, and just been like, "What?"
Well, I
Never.
mean, given it was probably, like, what, 25 years ago of this version of Superman, right? So he Nicolas Cage doesn't look as
No,
good as he did 25 years ago,
it
but
don't matter. Pump some iron, bro. It don't matter.
So
Like, come on now.
yeah, so I mean, I think James Gunn kind of has a path forward. He's working with the pieces he's been dealt with, right? They were already working on Blue
Okay.
Beetle and Aquaman, and now he's kind of trying to do with what he's got. I think his Superman movie, Superman Legacy, is actually I'm excited. I'm excited.
Oh yeah, it's got major potential.
Yeah. But I'm excited for Blue Beetle. I've heard some interesting things about Aquaman too. I don't know what's gonna happen there, but
Who's who's the villain in Aquaman 2? Oh, is it Black Manta?
Black Manta. But I think it's gonna end
So
up being
what?
some kinda common enemy thing later, you know what I mean? Like, they're unveiling an
Like
ancient
Black
darkness.
Man's a villain though, bro. Like he not no anti-hero. I feel like.
Yeah, yeah, but you know how movies are, right? Um,
Yep.
so, all in all, I mean, I think there's a path forward for sure, but, I
That's
guess
gonna be
we'll
a
have to
long time before we can see it.
yeah, I guess we'll have to wait and see, though.
Oh yeah.
Oh. Um,
Your excuse. I'm playing.
um,
But I heard that Blue Beetle's not gonna be canon in this new path.
so it's a bit interesting because it wasn't, but now it's being said that it is the first movie in the DCU.
They changing their minds left and right, dude.
Yeah.
Like they canceled Batgirl, but they didn't cancel Blue Beetle when they were both being filmed or were filmed at the time. Like that doesn't make any sense.
So I think
I would like to see that
yeah.
Batgirl movie.
I hope one day we'll see that movie. I really do.
Like, is that thing just gonna sit on the shelf? Like that mug is
It's sitting there
filmed, edited, just sitting there. That's
in the
ridiculous.
servers. I think it's like just sitting there on the servers kind of thing.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't think that's ever happened before.
No, no. I mean, this is the first that I've heard of something like this. But yeah, so again, like all in all, I think it'll be interesting to see what comes out of the DCU. But I do think that there's potential for sure.
So my only question is, who's Batman now? Are they gonna find a new Justice League type Batman, or are they just gonna try and phase in Robert Pattinson's Batman after like 5, 10 years?
No, he's in his own universe.
Good for him.
Yeah,
He doesn't need to be involved with this
I
shit
know,
show.
I know. That movie was good. Like, leave him alone.
The movie was
Keep it
right.
the detective noir stuff. Like, be
What
free,
detective
Batman.
was
Be
it?
free. So
Let
yeah,
me get Playboy, and I'm good.
yeah. So I want to point out, you know, whereas we come to an end of this episode, you guys should definitely like, comment, and subscribe.
If you haven't already,
Right, if you haven't already. Um, you know, if you have any opinion on anything we talked about, definitely comment down and we will be reading them. We
and I will respond. We can argue in the comments.
He's got time today. He's got time today.
I got all the time.
Yeah. So, I think this was a good episode. It's always awesome to talk about the DC universe and everything that it comes along with. So we'll catch you guys next week though. And
This has been Hutch and Turkman 7531 signing off.
signing off.